every problems, how we gonna solve them? Every day it's the same thing. All these unsolved issues, I guess it's official. Here we go again, the same old thing. And I'm tired, are you winning like you? So goodbye.
Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you are listening to God Sets in Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. It is July the 6th, July the 6th, 2024, and today the topic is, whose life is it anyway? Happy Monday. Yes, happy Monday, everybody. Actually, I guess I need to correct myself because it's afternoon. Yes, it is the afternoon time. But I didn't want to make no move until the Lord gave me a juice. And so here I am around noontime to give you guys this noonday juice. But I hope that it will be encouraging and inspiring to you. Yeah, man, I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. Mine was just fine. Yes, mine was good overall. Y'all pretty much know what happened on Saturday because I didn't come to y'all until after I had did most of the stuff. So after I talked to you guys, the only thing of significance, I guess, that I did was, you know what? I was in a bad mood Saturday. Matter of fact, like I was in a mood and a two Saturday. It didn't start off that way per se, but then I think just thinking about a lot of different things kind of kept me, quote unquote, in my feelings. And I feel like it's significant because I feel like it kind of goes with today's conversation as well as things that I was receiving yesterday and whatnot. So without going into too many details, I mean, yeah, I spent too much time thinking about the things in my life that I don't necessarily, I guess, like, right? Or the things that is like, man, I wish this or that was different and stuff like that. So at some point, by the time I, shook it all off and was like, you know what, Miracle, you need to not be, you done spent hours thinking about this and stuff like that. I realized I had work that I needed to be doing, which was one, learning the choreography, because we are trying to incorporate new things with the kids, and one of those things is going to be building a worship team, and they're going to be having choreography and whatnot. And so I needed to learn the choreography for this month. So that was one thing of significance that the Lord reminded me that, girl, you got work to do other than sitting here complaining or sitting here thinking about what's not, quote unquote, the way you think it should be. So that was one thing. And then two, I've been trying to build a new habit of like looking at the lesson plan beforehand. I know I have access to it, but I've become more intentional about like bringing it home with me, to look it over and whatnot. And then, because what I was doing before was like looking at it on Sunday, when I had to present it and whatnot. And so I'm like, you need to do better about that. And so, over the past couple of weeks, I would take one of the lesson plans home so I can look it over the weekend and then be more prepared for what I'm sharing with the kids on Sunday and Mondays, right? So yeah, the Lord kind of, he reminded me I had work to do. So I took some time and did that on Saturday after I was going through my whole mental battle and whatnot. And so then Sunday comes, which was a special Sunday over there at Mountain West. It was Mission Sunday. And then we also hosted a Taste of Mountain West event where they had like different foods from around the world and whatnot. So shout out to those members that, did that. Obviously, they were making food and samples for 1,000 people plus, probably, who knows how many it actually was, but they're making that much food and stuff. And it was good, man. Yeah, everything that I tried was good. And I'm glad I got a chance to get out there and try something. I didn't get a chance to try the jollof rice because by the time I got out there, it was gone. But everything else that I tried was good. And so shout out to those members that, took out that time yesterday and, served as well as cooked and things like that. And then for the kids, I feel like, the different services that I worked in, I worked the first two gatherings and then I got a chance to go sit for the third. The ones I worked, they were good. Like I felt like they went well. I did the choreography the best of my ability and stuff like that. And that worked out. But then that third gathering, y'all, if I needed confirmation about getting on track, the third gathering, I got a chance to listen to the word, and the word we received, it was from another guest pastor. He's from South Africa, and he spoke a right on time word for me, man. I know actually quite a few people that I spoke with afterwards were like, man, that it was good. But yeah, man, the one of the main things I received yesterday is he was saying that basically today or yesterday during today's time. So actually, that's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy that I got this juice at this time. Okay, Lord. But anywho, yeah, he had said like tomorrow this time everything's gonna change or something like that. I took a bunch of notes. I know NJ's in here with me, but I don't know if he's gonna follow directions. If I can get him to grab the notes for me, then maybe I'll share some of it in the after show for those that might need it, especially since it seems to be resonating that because it was around this time yesterday that he spoke that, or at least around 11 or something like that. NJ, can you go over there and look and see if there's one of mommy's little papers from the church? It's like a small square that has some lines and mommy wrote on it. See if it's over there for me, please. But anywho, so yeah, that was a good word, man. It definitely was right on time. It was reminding me again that God is in control and to, be in alignment with him and things like that. So anyway, so today, right? So I'm getting up this morning, right out of bushy tailed. I mean, I woke up early because Dario started his new job today. He's now working with Delta in the warehouses. So to God be the glory for that, man. It's not necessarily what he wanted. But at the same time, it's what he needs, I think, for right now, because he's been very stressed and discouraged and was I guess doing the gig and whatnot that he was doing before. And so I'm grateful and thanking God for the opportunity that has been presented. He took, again, today is his first day. And so thank you to those that was praying alongside of us and whatnot. And we're going to see what the Lord do. At the end of the day, who knows, man? Maybe he will get into a software development position at some point. But until then, I think this is going to bring him more peace of mind to be in a quote unquote 9 to 5 again. And then, that's all I can pretty much say about that. I mean, I hope and pray that this, enhances everything in our life. Not just, again, him working, but then, again, with him hopefully not being as stressed and stuff like that. Again, being more intentional about our family time and couple time and all that type of stuff. Hopefully he can have the peace of mind to do that. NJ, you were supposed to be looking for mommy's paper, okay? So now you're doing the wrong things. And now this is on my recording. So leave. Leave the room. No, sir. Leave the room. So, my apologies about that, y'all. But, hey, my mom life, right? This is part of it. I did send him on a little bit of a mission, but he got off track. And so, unfortunately, here we are. But anyway, so so as for today, whose life is it anyway? So again, I'm constantly being reminded of this, with all the different things and thoughts that have been on my mind. Again, different things I've been presenting to the Lord, why this versus that, and why did it go this way versus that way, and all the different type of things. But in spite of those feelings, yes, I still have those feelings every now and then. And yes, I still question things and I still present things to the Lord and be confused about some stuff, right? But I tell y'all all the time, and I truly feel in my heart, and I know this, right, that your girl is in a place of contentment. Like, and I know this because I remember not being in a place of contentment, right? I remember what it was like, yes, during the cultivation period, but just anytime that I was like, sure, I'm questioning God and sure I'm asking questions and stuff, but I'm not worried. You know what I mean? I'm not feeling any of the way, the anxiety or any of those type of things that I was feeling before. And so that's how I know I'm in a place of contentment. And I don't know what you guys think, or like when you guys hear me say that, because I know, again, y'all hear the ups and downs. If you listen to me every day, you hear like, ooh, I'm struggling about this, or ooh, I'm not sure about that, and stuff like that. And it's not that that goes away per se, but and sure, we all have questions out here, you know what I mean? But knowing that God is in control, right? Knowing that, you know what, I'm learning that, again, this is his life that I'm just living at the end of the day, as somebody that has decided, hey, I'm a believer, I believe in the word, different things of that nature. Like, I am laying down my idea of what I think my life should be for what God has created it to be. And that has put me in a place of contentment and peace and stuff like that. And then I think even over the weekend, what I was saying, I was noticing I was kind of talking to some of my accountability partners and things of that nature. And I just was like, you know what? I feel like I've missed my old self. Um, and it's not that I want to go back to being single, right? It's not that I want to go back to being the way I used to be and, worrying and fretting and all. I'm not that part. I think it's more so the part of me that's like, again, I think I was talking to y'all about this the other day. The part of me that's like, I guess maybe hopeful, romantic, or that part of me that's like, I feel like I haven't really even been, yes, sure, I've been inspired by my husband in a lot of ways, but at the same time, I'm like, what about that part of me that was like, could sit there and write like poems about how a guy made me feel and, just all that type of stuff. Like, I feel like that part of me is gone or dying, or I don't know, and it's not that I don't want to or don't think he's worthy of these type of things, but at the same time, I don't know if it's just the enemy trying to use these things as a attack. I don't know, but yeah, I know it doesn't do me any good to stay in my feelings, right, and sit here and think about again what I think things should be or how I think things should be. So again, I don't know if this is a revelation just for me or if it's a revelation that you can also understand and gravitate to, that when we lay down our life, right, and when we say that we trust the Lord, that at the end of the day it's his plan and his ideas versus our own. And then this is where I believe that this is what it means to die to self daily. Like our flesh, our self, we want what we want, right? We want to do what we want to do, all that type of stuff. But we have to lay those ideas aside, right? Lay those feelings and all those things aside for what God is wanting to do with us, for us, and through us. And that's when I think I'm learning and whatnot over the past few months, especially over the weekend. And so here I am to share these things with you all, hopefully to encourage and inspire you on your walk. So whose life is it anyway? These are the verses that were standing out to me this morning. I pretty much just, once the Lord gave me that title in my heart and mind, I just pretty much plugged that into openbible.info, and yeah, all the verses was resonating with me. And so you guys can do the same. But I'm going to pretty much just share the verses that stood out. And here they are. So Ephesians 2:10, it says, "For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them." I guess what stands out to me in this moment at the most is we are his workmanship. At the end of the day, we are his creation. And so, all of this stuff has been planned out beforehand. And so again, this verse is telling us that we should walk in them. And I know that's one thing we struggle with, right? Walking in the way that God has put before us. Like, again, there's a lot of things or a lot of ways this is played out in my life, man. But at the same time, I think I try my best to, go God's way and stuff like that. I don't, I'm not trying to puff myself up or anything, but I'm trying to think like, I mean, sure, there's been times I've been disobedient in life, man. I can't sit here and act like I'm perfect or something. I'm just trying to think of examples, but I feel like there's a lot of ways that this is played out in my life to where, again, choosing God's will versus my own and everything like that. And so, again, like even with everything I'm doing now, right? Now that I'm in this place of contentment, now that I'm in this place where I'm like, okay, pretty much God had me kind of being a stay-at-home mom before I even was being a stay-at-home mom, before I even became a mom, for example. Like, and don't get me wrong, I still have my things, you know what I mean? Like, obviously he done blessed me with plenty of hustles from home. But then at the same time too, he's also opened up the door at the church and stuff like that to where, it's part-time, and I don't know where it's gonna go. I don't know. I was praying for I was praying for full-time at one point. But now I'm like, I don't know, because again, y'all know that we decided to put our son in a virtual public school, which is pretty much like a homeschool situation. I mean, it's homeschool vibes, even though it's still public school, but it's just online. And so because of that, and I have to be his learning coach, because obviously, again, y'all just heard my husband just got a new job and things of that nature. So it looks like I'm going to be that person to come alongside him and help him learn, with the teachers online. I'm learning and I'm seeing that, hey, it might be best for me to stay where I'm at doing what I'm doing, versus me trying to go and add other things, and stuff like that. And so, again, I had to learn to be in this place of contentment and to accept what it is that God is doing. Sure, I have goals, dreams, and aspirations. I think, yeah, those goals, dreams, and aspirations can still, happen alongside of whatever the Lord wants to do. Obviously, again, I feel like the more I turn my thoughts and ideas to the Lord, the more that, again, my dreams and aspiration and things have come to fruition. I mean, you guys have been along this journey with me, especially after 2019. You know, but I believe, again, like I tell you guys all the time, that first step of obedience to say, okay, I'm going to start doing this, which was starting this, what I'm doing now, the juice. Saying that, okay, I'm going to be intentional about doing daily Bible study. I'm going to be intentional about sharing it, and things of that nature. And that was like the first domino. And next thing I know, everything else I even thought about, having a show, having books, having a movie out, all the rest of these things came to fruition once I was in alignment with what the Lord wanted to do, which was, I guess, for me to get up on here and share daily Bible study, And so I don't know what all it's going to do, right? I don't know, like, what impact it's having on the world for me to get up every morning and with the intention to share, or at least every day, right at this point. But I'm grateful, man. I'm grateful for where I am. I'm grateful for what I do see it doing. I'm grateful for what it's doing for me personally. And yeah, but I don't think I would be here today in a place of contentment if I was continuing to fight again the things that God had put on my heart and mind to do. Like I said, I felt on my heart and mind for years, you need to pray more, you need to study more. And I would do a little something thinking like, that's good enough or whatever case may be. But obviously God had other plans, you know what I'm saying? And so yeah, man, I'm grateful, man. I'm grateful. I'm just trying to give you guys practical examples of how this is playing out in my life to hopefully encourage you and inspire you in your life. Because at the end of the day, I think it's our human nature, right? Or it's a human I don't even know how to make it even easier to understand, but basically it's in our human nature to, I guess, combat whatever the Lord's trying to do. The flesh versus the spirit, it's that ongoing battle. And so yeah, I mean, all I say is I guess I'm challenging you today. If you listen to the sound of my voice, I'm challenging you to align your will with God's will and see what he do. And see will you be content, see will you be more happy doing the will of God versus trying to force things on your own. But that's just my observation. Let me give you guys some more verses, y'all. Romans 8 and Romans 14 and 8. It says, "For if we live to the Lord, and if we die to the Lord. So then, whether we live or whether we die, we are the Lord's." Again, putting first things first. At the end of the day, I don't think we fully understand this, so maybe some of us don't want to accept this, that we are the Lord. Again, we are the Lord's creation. We are his let's just leave it there. We're the Lord's creation. Like, we don't want to accept this, right? We want to think that we have control and things of that nature. But I mean, I'm humble enough to say, and then and maybe I guess if you say you're humble, maybe it doesn't mean you're. But I'm just gonna say what I was about to say. I'm humble enough to say that at the end of the day, I don't know it all, and I didn't create myself. You know what I mean? Like, I'm humble enough to say that, hey, the only things that I know is that, I know who my mother and father is. I know my mother pretty much raised me up until, she met my stepfather, who was his father, only father I know. I know that. I know I grew up in that household. I know what happened from where I can, remember, and I was documenting things on my own to now. Like, those are the only things I know. Before that, I don't know any of the things. Now, what am I learning? I'm learning, as I read the Bible and things of that nature, or what I was taught and things like that is, again, there was Adam and Eve and all the things right between then and now. Those are what I quote unquote know from what I've learn, right? But from my own experience, I know again my own lineage, right? And the lineage that is happening beyond me, right? Which is again our son and whatever else happens after, from here on out, or whatever case may be. And so with that being said, I mean, can we humble ourselves? Can you humble yourself to say that, hey, you know what? I didn't create this earth that we're on. I didn't I didn't put myself here, and I have no either recollection or knowledge of anything beyond my experience. Um, and from there, you got to decide whether you trust what the Bible say or not, right? Again, there's like all kinds of ideas out here, and God has given us that free will to choose, according to the Bible and things of that nature. And so I guess from there, you got to decide, like, okay, what is it that you want to believe, at the end of the day. To me, the more I study the Bible and the more I, seek the Lord and things of that nature, what is in the Bible makes sense to me. Um, you got to choose whether that makes sense to you or not, and people are choosing, and it's going to play out. I guess you'll see. I guess one of these old days, but ultimately, yeah, what I'm receiving is, again, we are God's creation, and it's something that we need to accept. I guess in order to truly live the life that He's created for you to live. Because again, if you don't accept that you are God's creation, then of course you're going to be around here confused about every aspect of life. Who am I? What am I? Where am I? What did I come from? All this different type of stuff. Like, you're going to have all the questions. Now, the Bible answers all these questions. You got to decide whether you want to believe the answers or not. Anyway. So then Jeremiah 29 and 11. It says, "For I know the plans uh, I have for you." I'm pretty sure that's what it said. I didn't write the whole thing down right. See? Read it for yourself, okay? But anyway, "For I know the plans I have for you, for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." Again, you guys, I know I left something out of that verse because apparently I didn't write it right, so my apologies for that. But ultimately, I guess what I'm receiving from it is, again, He has plans for you. He has plans that are good, and it's giving to give us a future and a hope. And so, again, you have to decide whether you believe that or not. So again, first things first, do you believe you are God creation? Do you believe what the Bible tells us about that? And then ultimately, if you're going to walk in that way, do you trust that He has good plans for you? And I feel like that's where a lot of us stumble. I don't think we think that God has good plans for us. Maybe because we see, again, what it's like living in this fallen world, and everything doesn't always look quote unquote good. But again, like, if I sit here and think about, okay, where would I be? I have no clue where I would be if things were slightly different. And who's to say that, again, things would be better, right? It could be worse for me if I was in another position or another relationship or another job or another whatever it is, right? But to sit here today and say, you know what, I am glad things happened the way they did. I'm grateful for the man God has put in my life. I'm grateful for the job God has given me. I'm grateful for my child. I'm grateful for all the things that God has put in my life, to where, even though, yeah, I still question things every now and then, I still, I hate to say doubt, but I still go and to present things to the Lord and present my questions and things I might be confused about and stuff like that. Because I'm like, okay, well, Lord, it could have been a lot easier if this way. Versus, I feel like I was receiving a word from yesterday about that. I'm gonna see if I can find those notes for people that actually watch this, and and maybe we can go over my notes from yesterday's sermon, but in the after show. Sorry, podcast people. Go check it out online. Check out God, Sex, and Love, the YouTube channel, and check out the live version of this, and you can see the after show. But anywho, yeah, friends. I mean, just saying, God has good plans for us, and I know we think that we know best, but ultimately He knows what's best for His overall plan. And so, even like I said, over the past few months, I've been kind of struggling with some different ideas of, like, well, again, this could have been a little easier for me if it was this way or that way. But what I received as I was putting these things before the Lord, what I received was, what is the point of having something easier, with knowing the impact that on what I'm presently doing, right? The impact at the church, the impact online with this, the impact on all the things that have led up to where I am today, versus me, quote unquote, being quote unquote happy, or having everything I think I want, or whatever the case may be. Like, I may not have everything at the moment, right? I may not, or I can't even say that. I say it's more so like, I don't even know how to explain it. So maybe I shouldn't go too deep about that right now. But the point is, again, there's a bigger picture at hand. And at the end of the day, I know that God has me where I am doing what I'm doing for a reason. And I can see some fruit from that already, again, with everything that's happening with GSL, as well as with the job, being at the church, working with those kids, and everything that God has me doing, you know, being an author, all these different things. Even again, the content that gets created, like, yeah, I still got movie ideas to make, you know what I'm saying? I still got, you know, more shows to create, more books to create, whatever else the Lord wants me to do. But, you know, I'm grateful, man. I'm grateful for where I am. And, yeah, and I hope and pray that you, if you are listening to the sound of my voice and you don't feel the contentment that I feel, or whatever the case may be, I hope that one day you will. And I believe that you will once you start to get in alignment with what the Lord wants to do. So anyway, let me give you guys, I think the last verse that I felt led to write down this morning was Proverbs 16:9. It says, "The heart of man plans his way, but the Lord established his steps." So at the end of the day, friends, I mean, you can make all the plans you want to, but if it ain't God's will, then it ain't going to happen. Or if it does happen, it's not going to be the God's best for you, you know, because he allows things as well. He allows us to make, you know, use our free will and make the decisions and choices that we want to make. And then we get mad about how that plays out sometimes, right? We get mad about the consequences and stuff to our own actions. Half the time, you know, the situation or the issues that we have in life are from our own actions and choices. But then we get mad about those things. But at the end of the day, you know, you made the decision, friend, you know? And so one of those, you know, I guess the thing is, I mean, you know, we can go deeper about this. There's plenty of verses in the go deeper section to peruse and let marinate on your heart, souls, and mind. Some of it might be pulp. It might be things you don't like or want to even hear. But if you do feel led to go forth and study and stuff like that and read those different verses, I hope that they encourage you and inspire you to understand that, you know, God is in control. He created us. And at the end of the day, I guess the answer is that it's his life. You know, it's his life that we are just living out. And this is what we lay down as believers. This is what, you know, this is what we ultimately believe, that, you know, again, he has a plan and it's better and it's good. And if you get in alignment, you'll start to see how good it is and what he has in store. And that's the juice, y'all. That is the juice. Now, the Bible verse of today is 2 Chronicles 15:7. It says, "Be ye strong, therefore, and let not your hands be work." Y'all go check that because I might have wrote something wrong. But anyway, for your work will be rewarded or shall be rewarded. So that was encouraging for me to see and read this morning as well. Again, it was more confirmation for me to know that, you know, in spite of how I might feel or in spite of anything, at the end of the day, doing the will of God is always good. And that's the juice, man. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful Monday. And I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye. And there you go, Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, anybody listening to the sound of my voice. Hope that you all are encouraged and inspired. Thank you so much for listening, watching, subscribing, and sharing all those wonderful things. As you guys can see, NJ is here, and obviously he has something to say. Let me see, can I find that those notes for those that actually want to hear the notes that I took yesterday? Because like I said, that word yesterday was it really hit home with me, and I feel like it coincides even with today's Bible verse of the day, for me to not get discouraged in well-doing and things of that nature. Because, you know, the enemy was trying to use any little crack in the foundation, right, to get you down and to get you questioning God's will and way and path for you. So I hope these things, me sharing, my being open and honest about, again, my ups and downs and stuff like that, is encouraging and inspiring to you, whoever you are. Let me see, can I find those notes? I'm gonna leave you guys in NJ's capable hands until I find my notes. Hopefully we pray that he, you know, says and do good things while mommy is looking for these notes. All right. None other than my co-host, NJ.
guess what? My mama has. Ta-da!
It was right here, boy.
This is Tangy's Not So Tangerific Cold. And this is my mommy's lipstick for ladies. Because she wants to give a lot of inspiration for everyone. And she loves everyone.
Aww.
Bye.
Well, thank you, son. I did not put him up to this. He just went and got some of the stuff out of my stuff that I'm promoting. So yeah, that is the Juice lipstick. It's the orange lipstick that I came out with.
And my mommy made
Juice Spots collection. There's some other lip glosses and whatnot. I mean, I still have a few on hand. I've just been pretty much doing them on hand. I haven't really done online orders, but we're gonna see because maybe the Lord is gonna switch some of that up. So,
and do you know what this is?
So he's holding up the Tangy's Cold Quencher recipe. So for those that want to try her cold quencher, this is the punch or the juice that Tangy made in the Tangy's Not So Tangerific Cold book. I don't even have my own copy anymore. I sold all the copies that I had at that event that we did last weekend. So yeah, I need to get me another copy myself, but yeah, that's the cold quencher recipe.
My mommy's gonna make me a Tangy book. And it's gonna be Pineapple Fairy.
Yes, okay. So he wants to be a pineapple fairy, so we'll have to work on that. Mommy also was inspired on 4th of July because he was so cute and he said some really cute things, and that inspired. We might make a book for him based on the things that he was saying on 4th of July. So who knows? We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna see. Might be a little author, man. Little author. Okay, let me share with the people the notes. So these are my notes from yesterday. So the gentleman was named Bishop Stanford Peterson. Bishop Stanford Peterson was his name. And he was talking about Elisha and this word that he had gave those people. And he said yesterday, he said tomorrow about this time, and how different things was going to be because they were going through some difficult times or whatever. And ultimately Elisha had came to give them the word saying that, you know, even though things might be costing a lot right now and stuff like that, tomorrow about this time, you know, things are going to be more affordable or just different, right? And so when he just kept saying that yesterday, or it kept standing out to me as he said that yesterday. And so I wrote down 12:17. Now I don't know what time I went live, but I know it's 12:51 now. And I was just praying for my husband. I was just like, you know, I know he's going to be starting his job and stuff like that. So I'm hoping and praying that it was about him. But even to receive this word at the time I did, or go live whenever I did, if it was 12:17 when I went live, that's gonna be crazy. I can't remember what time it was that I pressed the button, but it was around that time, 12:17. So that's crazy, y'all. But anyway, here goes some notes that were standing out to me. NJ, stop it, okay? Please. So he's doing the wrong thing, moving the screen. So my apologies for that, y'all. I'm gonna try to read this so I can wrap it up. For those that you should not have done that. Okay, so here's the notes that were standing out to me yesterday. So excuse yourself. One of them, I'm just gonna read you guys what I wrote down. So the things that he said during the message that was standing out to me. One of those things said, "We need the voice of God again." And I was like, yeah, we do. We need to be hearing the voice of God again. We hear so many things about people and their opinions and things of that nature. We have, I know Marcus Rogers talks about this a lot, but it's like prophets that only, you know, prophesy about, you know, good things and money and houses and things of that nature. But, you know, we need to hear what thus says the Lord. And so, yeah, that stood out to me yesterday when he said that. Also, he said this: don't allow your present condition or concern or circumstances to silence you. That stood out to me yesterday. Don't allow your present condition or circumstances to silence you. And you know, the enemy again will try to use any and everything to silence us from sharing our testimonies. Like I know one thing I've been kind of struggling with is I do feel this calling to coach and to be an accountability partner for people and things of that nature. And I've been kind of discouraged about that because I feel like people that I've tried to do that with, it has not played out or panned out in a positive way. That I know of, I feel like it hasn't, right? And so those type of things make me question the call, right? Because it's like, well, Lord, if I can't even help my husband or if I can't even help my friends, how can I help, people I don't know? But at the end of the day, again, we know that that's not nothing new. At the end of the day, it talks about a prophet not being received in his hometown and things of that nature. And so, yeah, will have more impact on people that don't know me personally than I ever will have on people that do. So that's something to think about. But anywho, here's another thing that was standing out to me that it was telling me to testify, or I felt led to testify, so I wrote down that word. Then it also talked about speaking about the goodness of God. At the end of the day, we all can testify about that, regardless of our circumstances and situations. I can sit here and tell y'all all day long, man, I fall short, or man, I feel bad, or all that type of stuff. But I can also sit here and tell you guys about the goodness of God every day too, because he's brought me, to where I am. He's allowed me and given me the blessings and the desires of my heart. He's opened up so many doors and opportunities and things for me that I've been able to, for the most part, I would say I'm living my dreams. Because, even though there might be a couple of things I quote unquote regret, right? I wish I had traveled a little bit more and things of that nature, like while I was single. But outside of that, like, goals and dreams and aspirations, I've either achieved them, or they are on the way, or I tried and I might have failed. So it might be a not right now thing. You know what I'm saying? So that is I think a great testimony on its own. And so, yeah, I something about that really stood out to me yesterday, being able to share about the goodness of God. Also just those that we need to stand, y'all, those need to stand. That's what resonated with me. I wrote here, it looks like I wrote, send them to me. Oh, yeah. That's what Elisha was saying. So basically, if you guys read their account in or listen to Kings 5 or 2 Kings 5, you're gonna learn all about Naaman and stuff like that, and the lepers, the man that was leprous and things of that nature. And Elisha's told the king to send the person to him, and he was saying that more of us need to be like that, to take the broken, right? Take those hard people, take the people that get rejected, things of that nature. We need to be open to allowing God to use us for those people. So that stood out to me yesterday. Also, he was talking about that man and how he told him to go to a certain river, and it seemed like it might have been like the filthiest river or something like that. That kind of reminded me again about my questions to God, because I was like, Lord, even though I know things could have been easier if it was different, right? But the fact that you've put me on this path that may not be easy, but at the same time, I can still be in contentment, and I can still, again, have hope and be out here giving encouragement and inspiration and things of that nature, because I'm on this quote unquote hard path, right? If I was on this easy path, getting everything I wanted and things of that nature, like, would I be sitting here talking every day, sharing juice, or would I be just living my life and just basking in those things that I think I want or whatever? So, these are things that were standing out to me, because it reminded me once again about what I was saying about expectations on Saturday. So that was resonating. And then ultimately here's the juice. I mean, ultimately for the day, man, it's in my notes here. It says it's God's way or no way. At the end of the day, those are the only choices. It's God's way or no way. And so, yeah, when we ask this question, whose life is it anyway? Sounds like it's God's life at the end of the day, friend, and not our own. Here's another thing. It was saying, stop wanting God to do it your way. Lord knows we all need to try to do that. Stop wanting God to do it our way. We think it needs to be a certain way. We think it needs to be what we think it should be. But ultimately, again, once you lay down your life to the Lord, and once you say, hey, Lord, I trust you, X, Y, and Z, it's God's way or no way. It's not what we want and how we want it and things of that nature. So that was standing out to me. It says, because of the disobedience of a man, I think it was either the man that came and got the money from Naaman and whatnot, him and his seed was affected. And that stood out to me, y'all, because here's look, one of my seeds right here. And so I'm doing my best to walk and do things according to God's will, because I want him to not only not experience things that I experience, but I want him to be able to look and remember and say, you know what, for example, I can go to therapy. My mom went to therapy, and if he ever needs to go, he knows that he can be encouraged and inspired to go. Or like he can hopefully keep his love for the church, you know, and say, you know what, my mom, she worked at the church. She went there and she took me, and I'm going to do that for me and my family and things of that nature. He already talks about things like that. He's just 5. He talks about being married. He talks about being a father. And, you know, all of that is a beautiful thing. And so it's what we do. It does have an effect on others, and especially our seed. So that's something to think about, y'all. Here's another thing that was on my notes, y'all. God chooses to use broken people. And that our brokenness does not disqualify us. Those 2 things stood out to me as well. I mean, again, we're all broken, man. The pastor of the week, he was talking about the vessels, y'all. And yeah, so it's either empty vessels, full vessels, or broken vessels. But the beautiful thing about Christ is that he can bring us back together, and that broken vessel can become a brand new creation and things of that nature. So don't be discouraged. Again, I'm sitting here before you guys today saying how broken I am, right? Saying that I'm not perfect and things of that nature, but that doesn't make me disqualified for whatever the Lord wants to do with me, for me, and through me. Y'all getting the extra juice after the juice, man. But anyway, I'm sharing with you. I'm just sharing with you guys the notes from yesterday. There's only a little bit more. He's telling us that we can be used again. So yeah, man, again, you don't get discouraged. You're not disqualified. Like, even if we fall short, we can still be used by God. Stand up and move for the possibility of change. Oh, that was good yesterday when I heard it, man. It was like, make that first step. Like, y'all hear me talk about, again, doing the juice was one of my first steps, right? But sometimes we got to just move for the possibility. We don't have to know anything, but moving for the possibility. He was talking about those gentlemen, the 4 leprous men that was at the gate, and they were saying to one another, why sit we here until we die? At the end of the day, like, we often sit in whatever we think, you know, because we make assumptions, right? I talked about that the other day. We make assumptions thinking like, if we make this move or that move, that's what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. But what is the point of sitting there and waiting on that to happen versus getting up for the possibility of a difference, for the possibility of, you know, being helped or being a helper, or for the possibility of what God can do with you, for you, and through you, y'all. That spoke volumes yesterday. And then and it was talking about how those gentlemen, they were slow movers. You know, at the end of the day, we want stuff so quick. We're in this microwave world, and we want it to be quick. But at the end of the day, again, God can do things quick. Sure. Yeah, he can do things quick if he want to. But sometimes he take us through a journey, man. And so that's just something to think about, man. Everything may not be quick and things like that, but make some type of move, right? I feel like I'm always sharing and saying that type of thing where, you know, you take one step at a time. It talks about, again, being concerned about the day, focus on the day, and don't worry about tomorrow. You know, it's enough trouble for itself and things of that nature. But all right, here's the last thing that I wrote down in my notes, y'all. And it was to get up from yesterday's pain and be cleaned and healed. Oh my goodness. Man, get up from yesterday's pain and be clean and healed. At the end of the day, again, the enemy, he tries out his best to remind us again who we used to be. Like, even over the weekend, I was saying all weekend, man, I miss old me, right? The people, when the Israelites, when they left Egypt, they was talking about how much they missed Egypt and things of that nature, and stuff like that. We need to be healed from our old pain. And we need to be clean and healed, y'all. Clean and healed. So, I mean, I hope these things encourage you, man. I just wanted to share that because those things that was resonating with me yesterday. That's right. The enemy is bad, but we ain't got to worry about him because his fate is already sealed. And we don't want to be there with them, in Jesus' name. Amen. Yes, indeed. So that's what's going on, man. I hope y'all have been encouraged and inspired by this juice. I'm going to go ahead and get this thing out there and try to eat me some lunch. And I'm going to have to do things a little bit flip-flop today because I do have an episode of the GSL Talk Show that I'm on schedule to film. So I'm going to get ready, film that, and then we got to go
to
church.
church.
Yes.
It is Sunday.
It is not Sunday, it's Monday. And so, yeah, it's our Monday night gathering and everything like that. But y'all have a wonderful Monday, and I look forward to talking to y'all tomorrow, if the Lord's will.
Bye-bye.
Bye.